12 p.m, November 3rd. Hal came by today. He dropped food off at my door. Some bread he made and some vegetables from his garden. I keep telling him on the phone, the fence isn't enough to keep him safe. But he won't listen to me. He's got such a blasé attitude about the whole thing. It's going to get him hurt. And I'd hate to see that happen. He's been a good friend to me since I moved here, perhaps a little too enthusiastic. I mean, he's a nice guy, don't get me wrong, just a bit eager. I mean, he was the first and only guy to welcome me to the neighbourhood when I first arrived here, just over a year ago now, for an engineering job. I mean, that obviously fell through, given everything that's been going on lately. Still, it's useful to have the extra food, even if the bread is a little overcooked. It means I don't have to worry as much about going out to get food. I am running a bit low on toiletries, though. Might just have to do without them for a while. 6 a.m, November 5th. I saw one of them outside last night. It was just staring up at me, not moving at all. I thought it was just someone standing out on the streets at first. Until I saw its eyes. They were...
Jason, you in there? You haven't been picking up calls. You haven't been picking up any food. Everything alright? Jason, I know you're in there.
Didn't end up sleeping at all. It definitely saw me, though. 1:32 p.m, November 11th. Not much really happened today. Tried to read a book, but I just didn't really get into it. I mean, I read it not that long ago, really. Yeah, I run out of stuff to keep myself occupied, to be honest. I could call someone, I guess. Nah. 4 a.m, December 2nd. I haven't slept properly in days. It's freezing, and I keep hearing things move around at night. I know it's them. They haven't got put the fencing I put up, thank God. But maybe it would be safe to put up more barricades around it just in case. It's becoming more and more risky to go out for supplies. More of them have started coming out during the day. Some people have started fighting over food. I slip in and grab what I can in the aftermath. I find going early in the morning is best. I've only got a couple of tins left. I've got to make them last. Hal still drops off food every so often, but it's becoming less and less frequent, just a small loaf of bread here and there. It doesn't even taste as good as I remember it. He still calls a lot, though. Still sounds like his normal happy-go-lucky self. More or less. I don't know, though. I really don't feel like talking most of the... Hang on.
You can't stay in there forever, Jason. You've got to come out eventually. Look, I know you're concerned about everything that's been going on lately, and I don't blame you. You can't keep yourself locked away forever. It's not good for you. Jason, when was the last time you ate anything? Have you slept at all in the past week? Look, Just want to talk.
The heating broke. Boiler went completely dead in the morning. I was taking a shower as well. Well, I can't risk having anyone down to look at it or fix it. Not that I know any plumbers or boilermen around here. God knows I'm not skilled enough to do it myself. I'm just gonna have to wear a few extra layers. You know, I realised this morning that it's been half a year to the day since this all started. Since they first arrived. 6 whole months. Nobody really thought much of it at first. I'm sure it was a bit worrying, but there was only a few of them and they weren't anywhere near us. Then more and more of them began popping out of nowhere. There was no pattern, no one direction they were spreading from or towards. At any point, one of them could just appear in your town. Once people started noticing that, that's when the fear really set in. A few weeks after the first sighting in America, it finally happened. Some poor woman was walking down our street after a night out. The next day, she was reported missing. Once the police finally found her, she was... I could barely even tell who she was. They tried to hush it up, of course, but the pictures inevitably leaked to the press. Her face was horribly twisted, contorted, almost beyond recognition. One eye bulged out, almost falling from its socket. The other one was completely removed. All the flesh was completely lacerated and mangled, leaving a shredded mess. Her chest had completely shattered open, leaving ribs poking through what was left of her skin, and her limbs had been stretched out way beyond what should have been physically possible. And a few days later, she was spotted walking down an alleyway. There's definitely something wrong with Hal's food. I don't know what it is, but it tastes wrong. It's not too bitter, it's not too sour, but something's off. Maybe he's running out of fresh food. I don't know if it's safe to eat. Oh, okay, right. I'm back. I went out for a supply run. The route's usually relatively safe. I got to the supply shelter no problem, but on the way back, I got jumped by one of them. It was normal at first, but it changed when I got close. They're getting smarter. It was tall, yeah. Its arms and legs became long and spindly, full of sharp spines and spikes, and its mouth was all twisted, and I ran as far as I could. I didn't look back once. Didn't even think to. I could feel its arms grasping out for me. There was a horrible bone-crunching sound as the arms got longer and longer, and that was probably the other person at the shelter. Poor guy. Hal is getting on my nerves. He's calling me all the time, always asking me if I'm okay, especially after that run-in I had. I keep telling him, I'm fine. Are you sure? He asks. I tell him I'm fine. He usually drops it after that, but I can still hear it in his voice. I'd see it in his face as well if he was here in front of me. I don't need him fretting and worrying over me. It's demeaning. Anyway, he's the one acting weird, always asking about what it was like to see one of those things up close. When did you notice it? How did you get away? What's he so obsessed about? I should be asking him the questions. I'm fine. I can hear something on the roof. Boy, it doesn't seem to know where I am. I've got a gun, but I'm not sure it's gonna do much. I sent Hal a message not to go as... I've got to keep quiet. I can't let it find me. The shelter food is wrong. It's wrong too. All the food is wrong. It's some... Oh, yeah, right. It's somewhat around New Year's, I think. Maybe, I don't know. It's hard to tell. Anyway, the food. Yeah, right, the food. It's like Hal's now. It's off. And I don't mean it's out of date, but, well, it might be a little. But that's not what it is. I know what gone-off food tastes like, and that's not it. It's like... It's subtle. But, well, I don't know. If I told anyone, they'd tell me I'm just imagining it. But It's Hal. It's Hal again. I thought a few weeks ago he'd finally stopped pestering me, but the last few days he'd been calling me non-stop. He won't leave me alone. He started putting up more food again, but it all Wait. What if... No, surely not. It all makes sense now. He's one of them. The people at the supply shelter as well. They've all been killed and been replaced by them. It might even just be me left. I don't know how much longer I can do this. Every time the phone rings, I think about picking it up. Letting it know I'm here, letting it into my head. Sometimes I wonder why I don't just disconnect the thing. Maybe I just want to... Oh, no, not again. Stop it! I heard it. I heard its voice. The thing that took Hal, or the shelter people, or that woman down the street. I couldn't make out a word. It was a strange, shifting, guttural noise. there were sounds which were adjacent to words, but it didn't sound like any language I'd ever heard, and yet I fully understood everything it said. It's like its voice was stretching, reaching out of the headset into my ear and tugging at my brain. "Open the door," it said. "Let me into your home, and I can set you free. You never have to be alone again." I felt myself moving, without even thinking, towards the door. I didn't even realize what I was doing until my hand was already on the handle. I think I made it angry.
Jason, you in there? You haven't been picking up calls. You haven't been picking up any food. Everything alright? Jason?